Greetings, this is Frater Ralph, and I hadn't done a video for Temple Crafts in a long time, so I thought this morning I'd go ahead and do one. I've been doing a few experiments here at Temple of the Infinite Universe with burning incense. And of course, when you're burning incense, and by incense I mean resin incense, frankincense, myrrh, copal, your basic tree resins that have been used for millennia for traditional incense. And of course, the way that we traditionally burn resin incense is that you have a hot charcoal. This is a hot coal, basically one of these little dudes here. And these cost 25 cents. They're self-igniting. And you just touch them with a lighter and wait for about 20 minutes until the charcoal looks about like that. And then what you do is you take a scoop of resin incense like that. This is a special mix that we make. And put it on your charcoal. And then you start getting your incense smoke. And that's the way we've always burned our resin incense. And, gives a good fragrance and all that, but one downside, which you can see already, is that it puts out a lot of smoke. And if you're burning incense in a small room, that can become a problem. And of course, that can be addressed by breaking the charcoal in half or using a smaller charcoal tablet to burn the incense on. But if you're burning incense or you want the smell of incense without the smoke, there's another way you can do it. And this is something that I found out just by kind of playing around on YouTube and searching the internet. But here we have a basic aromatherapy oil warmer. And what I found you could do is instead of water, in this tray up here, you put in just a little bit of basic vegetable oil. And you can use whatever kind you like. Olive oil gives off a nice fragrance all by itself. But if you want to just smell the smell of resin incense without the oil, then you can find a more neutral oil too, like what I have in here right now is Resin Pure Vegetable Oil. You can also use sunflower seed oil that has a very mild fragrance of its own. And what you do is you just take your same little scoop of resin incense and put it in there with the hot oil. And what I found, and this really amazed me, is that with the incense burner over here, we've got one scoop of resin incense, which is already pretty much burned out. I mean, it's still smoking, it's still burning. But already I can notice that we're getting more of the smell of smoke rather than the smell of incense. When you're warming your resin incense in an oil warmer like this, that same scoop of resin incense will be releasing its fragrance for, I've had it going for up to 3 days without noticing a diminish in the amount of fragrance that's being released. So here with the your charcoal burner, the traditional way that we've always used up till now, one scoop of incense, gives you a fragrance for about 20 minutes. And then if you really overdo it, you can get a room full of smoke that'll last for a few hours. And if you're conducting a ritual and you need the smoke as a part of the ritual, this method is perfectly good. That's the method you want. If, however, you just want the aromatherapy benefits of having the smell of the incense without the smoke, then your oil warmer method here is really superior from my point of view. And the way these things work, of course, you can see there's a little candle in the center, And this is another form of oil warmer that you can use. Again, you just put a little bit of vegetable oil in the cup at the top. And then I've already got some resin incense here that I've had in. This batch has been in there for about 4 days. And it still smells great. And all you do is you take your little tea light candle. Costs about 10 cents each. And then you put it in your warmer, like so. Let it go. And within a few minutes, you'll notice the smell of the resin incense, the fragrance, coming off of that oil warmer. And again, this is one way. I mean, resin incense is a valuable natural resource, and some of these resin incenses are getting hard to find because they're being over-harvested in nature. So if you're concerned about the environment, you still like to use resin incense, but you don't want to kind of burn it up real quick, here's a way you can enjoy the fragrance of resin incense, the resin of your choice, and have it last. One scoop lasting like 3-4 days. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can go a week on one of these burners and see how long that fragrance really lasts. But have that same fragrance lasting for days rather than just for minutes. So that's just one idea. A way you can burn resin incense without charcoal and without much of a mess. Now, one caution is that in these burners, I'm afraid to try to use them without some liquid in the cup. I've seen some people that will take a burner like this and without any oil in the top and put a candle underneath and then put their dry incense in the top and will burn it like that. My concern is without the oil or some sort of fluid in the top, my concern is that you might build up too much heat, that it might crack the burner itself. So in my experiments thus far, I've always used a fluid in there. I tried putting water. Water, for some reason, didn't seem to work quite as well as the oil. The fragrance wasn't quite as strong. But with the vegetable oil, I am very happy with the fragrance that we're getting. Now, one other side note before I end this video. I think you've noticed my little incense holding cup here. This is something that we made just out of spare parts. The base here is made out of the lid that you find on jar candles. See, jar candles like this. You've got some that have a flat lid rather than a round lid. Well, a domed lid. And on these things, works perfectly well. You have a ready-made cup, and then you take like the top of a mason jar, and for decoration, oops, I dropped it. You can take the lid and put it on the top there to seal it, and it's a perfect fit, surprisingly. And then take your little ring around it and put it on top, and it makes kind of a semi-fancy looking holder for your incense that you make literally out of scrap, because normally when we're done burning a jar candle, normally I just throw all this stuff away. But if you're into recycling, concerned about the environment, things like that, keeping stuff out of the landfill, you can make a lot of things out of these little cups. And what I like with the flat cup too is that you can put incense in one and then you can stack them. So if you burn a variety of resin incenses like your frankincense, myrrh, copal, you can keep them separate and have a little dish for each of them, and they stack one on top of the other. So another little idea for using your scraps and doing it in kind of a nice looking way. So here we are. Incense over here has already burned out. We're not even getting smoke off of it now. And we're not even 20 minutes into the video yet. And by comparison, the resin in the middle oil warmer, still I am noticing a very nice smell. And the one that I just put on, I can't really tell the difference. But I trust that it also is letting off a very nice fragrance as well. So, just one idea that you can use for burning resin incense without charcoal, and actually without even burning it. You're not really burning it, you're just warming it, and just get that resin incense fragrance that lasts for days instead of just a few minutes. So, that's all the ideas I have for now. This is Frater Ralph with Temple of the Infinite Universe signing off, wishing you a blessed day of spiritual discovery and crafting. Thank you.